What up, ball knowers? My name's Darian, and Broncos training camp is just days away, and the NFL season is inching closer. So we got to finish up the position deep dives before the season starts. We got two positions left. We got the safeties and the quarterbacks, which I'll try to get to tomorrow. But regarding the safeties, I still like the top end of this room, but obviously the middle has a position battle upcoming and a decent amount of questions. I'll be starting it off with the Broncos all-pro safety man, Talanoa Hufanga. Guy plays with his hair set on fire and is an absolute dog on this Broncos defense and probably one of the better leaders of the squad as well. Obviously, Hufanga made an all-pro team last year, which is especially impressive when he had 0 interceptions. And we all know that could have been like 4 or 5 last year. He did battle a wrist injury down to the end of the year, which may or may not have caused his problems catching the football, but I do see Talanoa Hufanga bouncing back and snagging a decent amount of interceptions this year, and the Broncos defense as a whole turning around and getting more turnovers as a unit. Because Talanoa Hufanga is a ball hawk kind of player, he did grab a lot of interceptions with San Francisco and just be around the ball at all times, so I do expect his interceptions number to go up, maybe a couple forced fumbles here and there, maybe a couple fumble recoveries like he usually does. Hufanga is here for the next 2 years under contract, but his contract is definitely interesting, and I'd like to talk about it real quick. Now, obviously, he's here for the 2026 and 2027 seasons, where his cap hit is pretty low, obviously, but then you have this weird void years. I don't know about all of these, but definitely I know, according, of course, to Spotrac and Over the Cap, has this $14 million dead cap hit in 2028, where he wouldn't even be on the team. So I expect Talanoa Hufanga, if he continues to play well, to definitely get a contract extension and push this money even more down the line. Hufanga obviously bounced back after battling injuries towards the end of his tenure with San Francisco, so if he continues to stay healthy, I would love to have Talanoa Hufanga here long term. I believe he's entering his 28-year-old season, so he could get a 1 to 2 year extension, pushing that money down the line, and keeping him here for a total of like 5 to 6 years would be great through his prime. Next up, we got his partner in crime. We got Brandon Jones, absolutely underrated safety and a big key to this Broncos defensive success. Brandon Jones, the better cover player of the two, snagged a couple picks last year. I think he had more in 2024. Obviously had that unfortunate torn labrum, I believe, towards the end of the season and missed the playoffs. But as long as he stays healthy, I expect a big season out of Brandon Jones. Both him and Hufanga hopefully upping their ball production, as I said, with the whole defense as well. Obviously, as we know, and I've made a video in the past, Brandon Jones is a free agent at the end of the season. And it'd be interesting to see if the Broncos decide to extend him. Obviously, I would love to have Brandon Jones back. When he's healthy, he's an absolute monster, but has been banged up a little bit. But it's hard not to expect that for the safeties for this unit, especially how much they're asked to do. Hopefully, the Broncos can get Brandon Jones and Hufanga more help in the middle of the defense through that linebacker position. But as we know, we only have Alex Singleton and Justin Sternad for this season, so we'll still have to pick up a heavier load coverage-wise. I'd love to keep Brandon Jones back, but it would come at a cost, and as long as that cost is low, I think they should do it, but it also depends on how Jaquan McMillan and Riley Moss play, as I said. So keep an eye out on how Brandon Jones plays, and if he either plays himself out of Denver or stays with the Broncos long term. Next up, we got the probable safety 3, Devin Key, and all-pro special teamer. Obviously had a big year on special teams last year, which impressed us all, but we still have questions on how he'll play on the defense if he's called to do so. As we saw in the Baltimore game and even a little bit of the Browns game, Devin Key definitely wasn't ready a couple years ago and was getting gashed and looking out of place. But 2 more years under the system. Vance Joseph obviously has spoken very highly of him. After in the past, he said he wouldn't lose sleep over him starting. So I gotta trust Vance Joseph and hope that Devin Key takes a step. Obviously, he's 28, 29 years old, so I just gotta hope he's ready when called for. I don't expect him to be a game changer or anything, but if he can do a job kind of like PJ Locke did last year, I'd be very comfortable with him as a safety 3, but it definitely is a question mark and something to look forward to in camp and preseason. Next up, we got another big special teamer in JL Skinner. I'm higher on JL Skinner than a lot of people are, but he's obviously on the bubble for this team, competing with guys like Tyson Anderson and Miles Scott, probably for that safety 4 or 5 position. I think he has a little bit of a step up being in Vance Joseph's system coming into his 4th year and a pending free agent at the end of the year, and his special team chops as a gunner as well as inside. We'll see what the future holds for JL Skinner. I'm holding out hope he can either find a role in this defense or continue to be a very good special teamer for the Broncos. And we'll see what his future holds if the Broncos decide to bring him back, maybe as a special teams type of guy, or if he finds a role somewhere else. Next up, we got the Broncos 7th round safety, Miles Scott. Obviously won't be wearing number 10, but he will be on the Broncos this upcoming season, potentially obviously battling with Tyson Anderson and J.L. Skinner, like I said. The Broncos think highly of this guy, Pat Bryant's teammate in college, a captain for the Illinois football team, and obviously we're looking to see how much of an athlete he actually is and how well he can actually play the position. Obviously learning Vance Joseph defense is hard, and I assume it's the same for safety. We'll see how much athletic upside he has. Obviously he's known as more of a smart player, good tackler in college, so I'm excited to see what Myles Scott can bring, and if he shows more upside than I thought, I'd love to have him on this team. Obviously he's a rookie, so he'd have a 4-year deal carrying into the season. But that also leads us into our last guy, Tyson Anderson, the Broncos' only outside free agency pickup. Good special teamer, good gunner for the Cincinnati Bengals. Has not found the field for them, but has connections to the Broncos' new secondary coach in Robert Livingston. So that's probably a guy he probably called for and tried to bring in. We'll see what Tyson Anderson can bring. I find it hard-pressed that he didn't even make a chance in Cincinnati on their secondary. So we'll see what he can do. Obviously, we know he's a special teamer, but we've seen in the past that the Broncos will bring in these special teamers and just end up cutting him for guys that they're more comfortable with or guys with more upside, which I think J.L. Skinner and Myles Scott bring to the Broncos. So we'll see if he has a room on this team. Obviously, like I said, those 3 guys will be battling it out in camp and preseason to make it on the 53-man roster. Very interested to see the safety room and how they play. Obviously, you got the top 2 guys, but then it's very questionable who can probably step up and actually play the safety position outside of that. All right. See y'all tomorrow for the QB breakdown. Take it easy.